The Gospel of Bartholomew. At the time before Yeshua, Messiah, suffered, all the disciples were gathered together, questioning him and saying, My King, show us the mystery in the heavens. But Yeshua answered and said unto them, If I put not off the body of flesh, I cannot tell you. As we know, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. But after that he had suffered and risen again, and all the apostles looking upon him did not question him, because his countenance was not as it had been aforetime, but showed forth the fullness of power. Bartholomew therefore drew near unto Yeshua and said, I have a word to speak unto you, my King. And Yeshua said unto him, I know what thou art about to say. Say then what thou wilt, and I will answer thee. And Bartholomew said, Yeshua, when thou wentest to be hanged upon the cross, I followed thee afar off and saw thee hung upon the cross, and the angels coming down from heaven and worshipping thee. And when there came darkness, I beheld, and I saw thee that thou wast vanished away from the cross, and I heard only a voice in the parts under the earth, and great wailing and gnashing of teeth on a sudden. Tell me, my King, whither wentest thou from the cross? And Yeshua answered and said, Blessed art thou, Bartholomew, my beloved, because thou sawest this mystery, and now will I tell thee all things whatsoever thou askest of me. For when I vanished away from the cross, then went I down into Hades, that I might bring up Adam and all them that were with him, according to the supplication of Michael the archangel. Then said Bartholomew, My King, what was the voice which was heard? Yeshua said unto him, Hades said unto Belial, As I perceive, a God cometh hither. And the angels cried unto the powers, saying, Remove your gates, ye princes, remove the everlasting doors, for behold, the King of glory cometh down. Hades said, Who is the King of glory that cometh down from heaven unto us? And when I had descended 500 steps, Hades was troubled, saying, I hear the breathing of the Most High, Yah, and I cannot endure it. He cometh with great fragrance, and I cannot bear it. But the devil answered and said, Submit not thyself, O Hades, but be strong. For mighty God Ahia himself had not descended upon the earth. But when I had descended yet 500 steps, the angels and the powers cried out, Take hold, remove the doors, for behold, the King of glory coming down. And Hades said, O woe unto me, for I hear the breath of mighty God Ahia. And Belial said unto Hades, Look carefully who it is that, for it is Elias, or Enoch, or one of the prophets that this man seemeth to me to be. But Hades answered Death and said, Not yet are 6,000 years accomplished, and whence are these, O Belial? For the sum of the number is in my hands. And the devil said unto Hades, Why affrightest thou me, Hades? It is a prophet, and he had made himself like unto God. This prophet will we take and bring him hither unto those that think to ascend into heaven. And Hades said, Which of the prophets is it? Show it me. It is Enoch the scribe of righteousness. But God had not suffered him to come down upon the earth before the end of the 6,000 years. Sayest thou that it is Elias the avenger? But before he cometh down, not down, what shall I do, whereas the destruction of is of mighty God Ahia? For surely our end is at hand, for I have the number of years in my hand. Be not troubled, make safe thy gates, and strengthen thy bars. Consider mighty God Ahia cometh not down upon the earth. Hades said unto him, These be no good words that I hear from thee. My belly is rent, and mine inward parts are pained. It cannot be but that of mighty God Ahia coming hither. Alas, whither that I flee before the face of the power of the great King. Suffer me to enter into thyself, for before of thee was I formed. Then did I enter in and scourged him and bound him with chains that cannot be loosed, and brought forth thence all the patriots, and came again unto the cross. Wow. Bartholomew said unto him, I saw thee again hanging upon the cross, and all the dead arising and worshipping thee, and going up again into their sepulchres. Tell me, my king Yeshua, who was he whom the angels bare up in their hands, even that man that was very great of stature? And what spakest thou unto him that he said, sighed so sore? Yeshua answered and said unto him, excuse me. Yeshua answered and said unto him, it was Adam, the first form, for whose sake I came down from heaven upon the earth. And I said unto him, I was hung upon the cross for thee and for thy children's sake. And he, when he heard it, groaned and said, so was thy good pleasure, O my king. And Bartholomew said, Yeshua, I saw the angels ascending before Adam and singing praises. But one of the angels, which was very great above the rest, would not ascend up with them. And there was in his hand a sword of fire, and he was looking steadfastly upon thee only. And all the angels besought him that he would go up with them, but he would not. But when thou didst command him to go up, I beheld a flame of fire issuing out of his hands, and going even into the city of Jerusalem. And Yeshua said unto him, blessed art thou, Bartholomew, my beloved, because thou sawest these mysteries. This was one of the angels of vengeance, which stand before my father Ahiah's throne, and this angel sent he unto me. And for this cause he would not ascend up, because he desired to destroy all the powers of the world. But when I commanded him to ascend up, there went a flame out of his hand, and went asunder the veil of the temple, and parted it into pieces, for a witness unto the children of Israel for my passion, because they crucified me. But the flame which thou sawest issuing out of his hands smote the house of the synagogues of the Jews for a testimony of me, wherein they crucified me. And when he had thus spoken, he said unto the apostles, tarry for me in this place, for today a sacrifice is offered in paradise. A sacrifice is offered into paradise. And Bartholomew answered and said unto Yeshua, my king, what is the sacrifice which is offered in paradise? And Yeshua said, there be souls of the righteous which today have departed out of the body, and go unto paradise, and unless I be. And Bartholomew said, my king, how many souls depart out of the world daily? Yeshua said unto him, 30,000. Bartholomew said unto him, my king, Yeshua, when thou wast with us teaching the word, didst thou receive the sacrifices in paradise? Yeshua answered and said unto him, verily I say unto thee, my beloved, that I both taught the word with you, and continually sat with my father Ahiah, and received the sacrifices in paradise every day. Bartholomew answered and said unto him, my king, if 30,000 souls depart out of the world every day, how many souls out of them are found righteous? Yeshua said unto him, wholly 53, my beloved. And again Bartholomew said, and how do 3 only enter into paradise? Yeshua said unto him, the 53 enter into paradise, or are laid up in Abraham's bosom, but the others go into the place of the resurrection, for the 3 are not like unto the 50. Bartholomew said unto him, my king, Yeshua, how many souls above the number are born into the world daily? Yeshua said unto him, 1 soul only is born above the number of them that depart. Bartholomew said, how many are the souls which depart out of the body every day? Yeshua said, verily I say unto you, the 12,804 souls depart out of the body every day. And when he had said this, he gave them the peace, and vanished away from them. Now the apostles were in the place, the cherubim, Cheltorah, and Trityre with Mary. And Bartholomew came and said unto Peter and Andrew and John, let us ask her that is highly favored, how she conceived the incomprehensible, or how she bare him that cannot be carried, or how she brought forth so much greatness. But they doubted to ask her. Bartholomew therefore said unto Peter, thou that art the chief and my teacher, draw near and ask her. But Peter said to John, thou art a virgin and undefiled and beloved, and thou must ask her. And as they all doubted and disputed, Bartholomew came near unto her with a cheerful countenance and said to her, Thou that art highly favored, the tabernacle of the Most High, unblemished, we even all the apostles ask thee, or all the apostles have sent me to ask thee, to tell us how thou didst conceive the incomprehensible, or how did thou bear him that cannot be? But Mary said unto them, Ask me not, or do you indeed ask me, concerning this mystery? If I should begin to tell you, fire will issue forth out of my mouth, and consume all the world. But they continued yet the more to ask her. And she, for she could not refuse to hear the apostles, said, Let us stand up in prayer. And the apostles stood behind Mary, but she said unto Peter, Peter, thou chief, thou great pillar, standest thou behind us? Said not our King that head of the man is Christ? Now therefore stand ye before me and pray. But they said unto her, In thee did mighty God Ahiah set his tabernacle, and it was his good pleasure that thou shouldest contain him, and thou oughtest to be the leader in the prayer, to go with us too. But she said unto them, You are shining stars, and as the prophet said, I did lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence shall come my help. Ye therefore are the hills, and it beloved you to pray. The apostle said unto her, Thou oughtest to pray, thou art the mother of the heavenly King. Mary said unto them, In your likeness did mighty God Ahiah form the sparrows, and sent them forth into the four corners of the world. But they say unto her, He that is scarce contained by thee. Then Mary stood up before them, and spread out her hands toward the heaven, and began to speak thus, Elphu Zaratha Cherubim Nimoth Melito Thrabatha Mephranunas, excuse me for these names, I never seen these names before, excuse me, Chimiath, Aurora, Meridon, Elison, Marmedon, Seption, Hezabatha, Aniana, Sactinos, Athora, Belilam, Aphiath, Abo, Trazor. This is the reading of one Greek copy. The others in the Slavonic have many differences, as in all such cases, but as the original word, assuming them to have a meaning or hopelessly corrupted, the matter is not of importance, which is in the Greek tongue, Hebrew slave. Almighty God Ahiah, the exceeding great and all wise and King of the worlds, ages that are not to be described, the ineffable, that this established the greatness of the heaven, and as all things by a word, that out of darkness or the unknown, this constitute and fasten together the poles of the heaven in harmony, this bring into the shape the matter that was in confusion, this bring into order the things that were without order, this part the misty darkness from the light, this establish in one place the foundations of the waters, thou that makest the beings of the air to tremble, and art the fear of them that are on or under the earth, that this settle the earth, and not suffer it to perish, and fillest it, which is the nourisher of all things, with showers of blessing, Son of the Father Ahiah, thou whom the seven heavens hardly contain, but who was well pleased to be contained without pain in me, thou that art thyself the full word of the Father Ahiah, in whom all things came to be. Give glory to thine exceedingly great name, and bid me to speak before thy holy. And when she had ended the prayer, she began to say unto them, Let us sit down upon the ground, and come thou, Peter the chief, and sit on my right hand, and put thy left hand beneath my armpit, and thou, Andrew, do so on my left hand, and thou, John, the virgin, hold together my bosom, and thou, Bartholomew, set thy knees against my back, and hold my shoulders, lest when I begin to speak, my bones be loosened one from another. And when they had so done, she began to say, When I abode in the temple of mighty God Ahiah, and conceived my food from an angel, on a certain day there appeared unto me one in the likeness of an angel, but his face was incomprehensible, and he had not in his hand bread or a cup, as did the angel which came to me aforetime. And straightway the veil of the temple was rent, and there was a very great earthquake, and I fell upon the earth, for I was not able to endure the sight of him. But he put his hand beneath me and raised me up, and I looked up into heaven, and there came a cloud of dew and sprinkled me from the head of the feet, and he wiped me with his robe, and said unto me, Hail, thou art highly favored, the chosen vessel, grace inexhaustible. And he smote his garment upon the right hand, and there came a very great loaf, and he set it upon the altar of the temple, and did eat of it first himself, and gave unto me also. And again he smote his garment upon the left hand, and there came a very great cup full of wine, and he set it upon the altar of the temple, and did drink of it first himself, and gave also unto me. And I beheld, and saw the bread and the cup whole as they were. And he said unto me, Yet 3 years, and I will send my word unto thee, and then she shall conceive or a son, and through him shall thy whole creation be saved. Peace be unto. And when he had so said, he vanished away from mine eyes, and the temple was restored as it had been before. And as she was saying this, fire issued out of her mouth, and the world was at the point to come to an end. But Yeshua appeared quickly, and laid his hands upon her mouth, and said unto her, Mary, utter not this mystery, or this day my whole creation will come to an end. And the flame from her mouth ceased, and the apostles were taken with fear, lest haply mighty God Ahiah, Yeshua, should be wroth with them. And he departed with them unto the Mount Moriah, and sat in the midst of them, but they doubted to question him, being afraid. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Ask me what you will that I should teach you, and I will show it you. For yet 7 days, and I ascend unto my father Ahiah, and I shall no more be seen of you in this likeness. But they yet doubting said unto him, My king, show us the deep abyss according unto thy promise. And Yeshua said unto them, It is not good for you to see the deep. Notwithstanding, if you desire it according to my promise, come follow me, and behold. And he held them away into a place that is called cherubim, that is the place of truth. And he beckoned unto the angels of the west, and the earth was rolled up like a volume of a book, and deep was revealed unto them. And when the apostles saw it, they fell on their faces upon the earth. But Yeshua raised them up, saying, Said I not unto you, it is not good for you to see the deep? And again he beckoned unto the angels, and the deep was covered up. And he took them and brought them again into the Mount of Olives. And Peter said unto Mary, Thou that art highly favored, entreated mighty God Ahiah, that he would reveal unto us things that are in the heavens. And Mary said unto Peter, O stone hewn out of the rock, did not Yeshua build his church upon thee? Go thou therefore first and ask him. Peter said again, O tabernacle that art spread abroad. Mary said, Thou art the image of Adam. Was not the first formed, and then Eve? Look upon the sun, that according to the likeness of Adam it is bright, and upon the moon, that because of the transgression of Eve it is full of clay. For mighty God Ahiah did place Adam in the east, and Eve in the west, and appointed the lights that the sun should shine upon the earth, and to Adam in the east in his fiery chariots, and the moon in the west should give light unto Eve with a countenance like milk. And she defiled the commandment of mighty God Ahiah. Therefore was the moon stained with clay. It's cloudy, and her light is not bright. Though therefore, since thou art the likeness of Adam, oughtest to ask him, but in me was he contained that I might recover the strength of the female. Now when they came up to the top of the mount, and the master was withdrawn from them a little space, Peter said unto Mary, Thou art she that has brought to naught the transgression of Eve, changing it from shame into joy. It is lawful therefore for thee to ask. When Yeshua appeared again, Bartholomew said unto him, My king, show us the adversary of men, that we might behold him, of what fashion he is, and what is his work, and whence he cometh forth, and what power he hath, that he spared not even thee, but caused thee to be hanged upon the tree. But Yeshua looked upon him and said, Thou bold heart, thou askest for that which thou art not able to look upon. But Bartholomew was troubled and fell at Yeshua's feet and began to speak. Thus, O lamp that cannot be quenched, Yeshua, Messiah, maker of the eternal light, that has given unto them that loved thee the grace that beautified all, and has given us the eternal light by the coming into the world, that has accomplished the work of the Father Ahiah, has turned the shamefaced of Adam into mirth, has done away the sorrow of Eve with a cheerful countenance. By thy birth from a virgin, remember not evil against me, but grant me the word of my asking into the world, who has confirmed the eternal word of the Father Ahiah, who has called the sadness of joy, who has made the shame of Eve glad, and restored her from vouchsafing to be contained in the womb. And as he thus spake, Yeshua raised him up and said unto him, Bartholomew, wilt thou see the adversary of men? I tell thee that when thou beholdest him, not thou only, but the rest of. But they all said unto him, My king, let us behold him. And he held them down from the Mount of Olives, and looked wrathfully upon the angels that kept hell torturous, and beckoned unto Michael to sound the trumpet in the height of the heavens. And Michael sounded, and the earth shook, and Beliar came up, beheld by 660 angels, and bound with fiery chains, and the length of him was 1600 cubits, and his breadth 40 cubits, 1900 cubits, his breadth 700, one wing of him, and his face was like a lightning of fire, and his eyes full of darkness. And out of his nostrils came a stinking smoke, and his mouth was as the gulf of a precipice, and the one of his wings was 80 cubits. And straightway, when the apostles saw him, they fell to the earth on their faces and became as dead. But Yeshua came near and raised the apostles, and gave them a spirit of power. And he said unto Bartholomew, Come near, Bartholomew, and trample with thy feet on his neck, and he will tell thee his work, what it is, and how he deceived men. And Yeshua stood afar off with the rest of the apostles. And Bartholomew feared and raised his voice and said, Blessed be the name of thine immortal kingdom from henceforth even forever. And when he had spoken, Yeshua permitted him, saying, Go and tread upon the neck of Beliar. And Bartholomew ran quickly upon him and trod it upon his neck. Excuse my puppy. And Beliar trembled. For this verse of the Vienna, and Bartholomew raised his voice and said, Thus, O womb, more spacious than a city, wider than the spreading of the heavens that contained him, whom thy 7 heavens contain, not but thou without pain, this contains sanctified in the bosom, and evidently out of the place. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. And Bartholomew was afraid and fled and said unto Yeshua, My king, give me an hem of thy garments, that I may have courage to draw near unto him. But Yeshua said unto him, Thou canst not take an hem of my garments, for these are not my garments which I wore before I was crucified. And Bartholomew said, My king, I fear lest, like as he spared not thine angels, he swallow me up also. Yeshua said unto him, were not all things made by my word, and by the will of my father Ahiah the spirits were made subject unto Solomon? Though therefore being commanded by my word, go in my name and ask him what thou wilt. And Bartholomew made a sign of the cross and prayed unto Yeshua and went behind him. And Yeshua said to him, Draw near. And as Bartholomew drew near, fire was kindled on every side, so that his garments appeared fiery. Yeshua said to Bartholomew, As I said unto thee, tread upon his neck and ask him what is his power. And Bartholomew went and trod upon his neck and pressed down his face into the earth as far as his ears. And Bartholomew said unto him, Tell me who thou art, and what is thy name? And he said unto him, Lighten me a little, and I will tell thee who I am, and how I came hither, and what my work is, and what my power is. And he lighted him, and said to him, Say all that thou hast done, and all that thou doest. And Belial answered and said, If thou wilt know my name, at the first I was called Sataniel, which is interpreted a messenger of God. But when I rejected the image of mighty God Ahiah, my name was called Satanus, and that is an angel that keepeth hell, Tartarus. And again Bartholomew said unto him, Reveal unto me all things, and hide nothing from me. And he said unto me, I swear unto thee by the power of the glory of mighty God Ahiah, that even if I would hide aught, I cannot, for he is near that would convict me. For if I were able, I would have destroyed you like one of them that were before you. For indeed I was formed the first angel from when mighty God Ahiah made the heavens. He took a handful of fire and formed me first. Michael second. Here has these sentences, for he had his son before the heavens and the earth, and we were formed. For when he took thought to create all things, his son spake a word, so that we also were created by the will of the Son and the consent of the Father Ahiah. He formed, I say, first me, next Michael, the chief captain of the hosts that are above, Gabriel third, Uriel fourth, Raphael fifth, Nathaniel sixth, and the other angels of whom I cannot tell the names. Jerusalem, MS Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Exanthiel, and another 6,000 angels. Michael the honor of power, third Raphael, fourth Gabriel, and other 7. Raphael third, Gabriel fourth, Uriel fifth, Zathaniel sixth, and other 6. For they are the rod bearers, lictors of mighty God Ahiah, and they smite me with their rods, and pursue me 7 times in the night and 7 times in the day, and leave me not at all, and break in pieces all my power. These are the 12 angels of vengeance, which stand before the throne of mighty God Ahiah. These are the angels that were first formed. And after them were formed all the angels. In the first heaven are 100 myriads, and in the second 100 myriads, and in the third 100 myriads, and in the fourth 100 myriads, and in the fifth 100 myriads, and in the sixth 100 myriads, and in the seventh 100 myriads, and outside the 7 heavens Jerusalem. And the first firmament, flat surface, wherein are the powers which work upon men. For there are 4 other angels set over the winds. The first angel is over the north, and he is called Cherion. Angel of the north, Murak, and had in his hands a rod of fire, and restraineth the superfluity of moisture, that the earth be not overmuch wet. And the angel that is over the north is called Oretha, Alphaltha. He had a torch of fire, and put it to his sides, and they warm the great coldness of him, that he freezes not the world. And the angel that is over the south is called Kerkeratha. cedar, and they break the fierceness, that he shake not the earth. And the angel that is over the southwest is called Neatha, and he had a rod of snow in his hand, and put it into his mouth, and quenched the fire that cometh out of his mouth. And if the angel quench it not at his mouth, it would set all the world on fire. And there is another angel over the sea, which maketh it rough with the waves thereof. But Bartholomew said unto him, Flow chastity, thou the souls of men. Belial said unto him, Wilt thou that I declare unto thee the punishment of the hypocrites, of the backbiters, of the jesters, of the idolaters, and the coveters, and the idolaters, and the wizards, and the diviners, and of them that believe in us, and of all whom I look upon deceive? When I will show my any illusions by them, but they that do these things, and they that consent into them or follow them, do perish with me. Bartholomew said unto him, Declare quickly how thou persuadest men not to follow mighty God Ahiah in thine evil arts, that are slippery and dark, that they should leave the straight and shiny path of mighty God Ahiah. Bartholomew said unto him, I will that thou declare it in few words. And he smote his teeth together, gnashing them, and there came up out of the bottomless pit a wheel, having a sword flashing with fire, and in the sword were pipes. And he asked him, saying, What is this sword? And he said, This sword is the sword of the gluttonous, for into this pipe are sent they that through their gluttony devise all manner of sin. Into the second pipe are sent the backbiters, which backbite their neighbor secretly. And to the third pipe are sent the hypocrites, and the rest, whom I overthrow by my contrivance. And Antichrist said, I will tell thee. And a wheel came up out of the abyss, having 7 fiery knives. The first knife had 12 pipes, canals. Antichrist answered, The pipes of fire in the first knife, in it are put the casters of lots, and diviners, and enchanters, and they that believe in them or have sought them, because in the iniquity of their heart they have invented false divinations. In the second pipes of fire are first the blasphemers, suiciders, idolaters, and the rest are first perjurers, long enumeration. And Bartholomew said, Doest thou then do these things by thyself alone? And Satan said, If I were able to go forth by myself, I would have destroyed the whole world in 3 days. But neither I nor any of the 600 go forth, for we have other swift ministers whom we command, and we furnish them with an hook of many points, and send them forth to hunt, and they catch for us souls of men, enticing them with sweetness of diverse baits, that is by drunkenness and laughter, by backbiting, hypocrisy, pleasure, fornication, and the rest of thee. And I will tell thee also the rest of the names of the angels. The angel of the hell is called Mermioth, and he holdeth the hell upon his head, and my ministers do adjure him, and send him whither they will. And other angels are there over the snow, and other over the thunder, and other over the lightning. And when any spirit of us would go forth either by land or by sea, these angels send forth fiery stones, and set our limbs on fire. Enumerates all the transgressions. Bartholomew said, Be still, be muzzled, thou dragon of the pit. And Belial said, Many things will I tell thee of the angels, they that run together throughout the heavenly places, and the earthly are these: Miramoth, Anna, Meta, Doth, Melach, Cherod, Graphethes, Oretha, Nephanas, Chalcatora. With them do fly and administer the things that are in the heaven, and on the earth, and under the earth. Bartholomew said unto him, Be still, be muzzled, and be faint, that I may entreat my king Ahiah. And Bartholomew fell upon his face, and cast earth upon his head and began to say, O my King Yeshua, Messiah, the great and glorious name. All the choirs of the angels praise thee, O Master, and I that am unworthy with my lips do praise thee, O Master. Hearken unto me, thy servant, and as thou didst choose me from the receipt of customs, and didst not suffer me to have my conversation unto the end in my former deeds, O my King Yeshua Christ, hearken unto me, and have mercy upon the sinners. And when he had so said, mighty God Ahijah said unto him, Rise up, suffer him that groaneth to arise. I will declare the rest unto thee. And Bartholomew raised up Satan and said unto him, Go into thy place with thine angels. But mighty God Ahijah had mercy upon all his world. Again, enormously amplified in Satan's complaint that he had been tricked into telling his secrets before the time. The interpolation is to some extent dated by the sentence Simon Magus and Zoros and Orphaxir and Janus and Mambres and are my brothers. Zaros and Orphaxiter, wizards who figure in the Latin acts of Matthew and Simon and Jude. But the devil said, Suffer me, and I will tell thee how I was cast down into his place, and how mighty God Ahijah did make man. I was going to and fro in the world, and mighty God Ahijah said unto Michael, Bring me a clod from the four corners of the earth, and water out of the four rivers of paradise. And when Michael brought them, mighty God Ahijah formed Adam in the regions of the east, and shaped the clod, which was shapeless, and stretched sinews and veins upon it, and established it with joints. And he worshipped him himself for his own sake first, because he was the image of mighty God Ahijah, therefore he worshipped him. And when I came from the ends of the earth, Michael said, Worship thou the image of mighty God Ahijah, which he had made according to his likeness. But I said, I am fire of fire. I was the first angel formed, and I shall worship clay and matter. And Michael said to me, Worship, lest mighty God Ahijah be wroth with thee. But I said to him, Mighty God Ahijah will not be wroth with me, but I will set my throne over against his throne, and I will be as he is. Then was mighty God Ahijah wroth with me, and cast me down, having commanded the windows of heaven to be opened. Whoa. And when I was cast down, he asked also the 600 that were under me if they would worship. But they said, Like as we have seen the first angel do, neither will we worship him that is less than ourselves. Then were the 600 also cast down by him with me. And when we were cast down upon the earth, we were senseless for 40 years. And when the sun shone forth 7 times brighter than fire, suddenly I awaked, and I looked about and saw the 600 that were under me senseless. And I awakened my son Zalsan, and took him to counsel how I might deceive the man on whose account I was cast out of the heavens. And thus did I contrive it. I took a vial in my hand, and scraped the sweat from off my breast and the hair off my armpits, and washed myself. Leaves in my hand, and wiped the sweat from my bosom and below my arms, and cast it down. And beside the streams of water is greatly prolonged in this text. In the springs of water whence the 4 rivers flow out. And Eve drank of it, and desire came upon her. For if she had not drunk of the water, I should not have been able to deceive her. Oh my God. And Bartholomew came and fell at Yeshua's feet, and began with tears to say, Thus, Abba, Father Ahijah, thou art past finding out by us. Word of the Father Ahijah, whom the 7 heavens hardly contain, but who was pleased to be contained easily and without pain within the body of the Virgin, who the Virgin knew not that she bare. Thou by thy thought hast ordained all things to be. Thou givest us that which we need before thou art entreated. Thou that didst wear a crown of thorns, that thou mightest prepare for us to repent the precious crown from heaven, that didst hang upon the tree, that claws gone. Let's see. Excuse me for a second. That thou mightest give us to drink of the wine of compunction, and was pierced in the side with the spear, that thou mightest fill us with thy body and thy blood. Thou that gavest names unto the 4 rivers, to the first Physon, because of the faith, pistis, which thou didst appear in the world to preach, to the second Gion, for that man was made of earth, to the third Tigris, because by thee was revealed unto us the consubstantial, Trinity in the heavens. To make anything of this we must read Tigris. To the fourth Euphrates, because by the presence in the world thou madest every soul to rejoice through the word of immortality. My God, Ahiah, and Father, the greatest, my King, save Yeshua the sinners. When he had thus prayed, Yeshua said unto him, Bartholomew, my father Ahiah did name me Yeshua, Christ, that I might come down upon earth and anoint every man that cometh unto me with the oil of life. And he did call me Yeshua, that I might heal every sin of them that know us not, and give unto men several corrupt words. Excuse me. And again Bartholomew said unto him, My King, is it lawful for me to reveal these mysteries unto every man? Yeshua said unto him, Bartholomew, my beloved, as many are as faithful and are able to keep them unto themselves, to them mayest thou entrust these things. For some there are that be worthy of them, but there are also others some unto whom it is not fit to entrust them, for they are vain swaggers, drunkards, proud, unmerciful, partakers in idolatry, authors of fornication, slander, teachers of foolishness, and doing all works that are of the devil. And therefore are they not worthy that these should be entrusted in them? And also they are secret because of those that cannot contain them. For as many as can contain them shall have a part in them. Hereunto, therefore, my beloved, have I spoken unto thee. For blessed art thou and all thy kindred, which of their choice have this word entrusted unto them, for all they that are my judgment. Then I, Bartholomew, which wrote these things in my heart, took hold of the hand of Glory be to thee, O mighty God, Ahiah, our King and Savior, Messiah, that givest unto all thy grace, which all we have perceived. Hallelujah. Glory be to thee, O mighty God, Ahiah, the life of sinners. Glory be to thee, O mighty God, Ahiah, death is put to shame. Glory be to thee, O mighty God, Ahiah, the treasure of righteousness. For unto mighty God, Ahiah, do we sing. And we're going to stop at that, and we will continue with chapter 6 tomorrow. Thank you for listening.